Hi, I'm Devin Henderson, a volunteer with No Tax for Tracks. You've graciously decided to assist in our effort to defeat green light Pinellas this November, and your generosity is very much needed and appreciated. This short instructional video will explain the ins and outs of canvassing, and I have no doubt you'll be an expert by the end. The purpose of this project is to get our yard signs posted on major thoroughfares where thousands of locals drive by each day. This creates buzz, awareness, and puts pressure on our local elected officials not to endorse this ridiculous tax hike. So far, it's working great, and we've been able to put hundreds of yard signs all around our beautiful county. First, let's talk about building your team. The most efficient team consists of one driver and 2 to 3 walkers. To ensure nobody gets confused, use consistency in your scheduling. If you're going to go once a week, make it the same day at the same time. The recommended time block to choose from is 5 to 8 p.m. Now, in today's busy world, it's still easy to forget things even when we're consistent. So be sure you send out a telephone or email reminder to your team 1 or 2 days ahead of time. This needs to outline the location and time you guys will meet. Be sure the driver of your team has a No Tax for Tracks magnet on their doors, and the driver will also need a pen and a piece of paper to write down the house numbers of the people who accept yard signs. Always remember to bring plenty of water, and don't forget the brochures either. Also see to it that everyone on your team is wearing a No Tax for Tracks t-shirt. And before you leave your house, make certain you have your cell phone with you. You'll be planning your route along major thoroughfares in the county. Do the most traveled roads with the highest residential density first. If there are spots on your chosen route with stretches of commercial property, the driver should pick up the walkers and transport them past these properties. Remember, we're not targeting businesses, only residential homes. This will not only save time, but also the precious limited energy of your awesome walker. Everyone on the team will need a cell phone, and it's important to assure the walkers have their phones with them before they exit your vehicle. If you have an area with solid residential houses on both sides of the street, you can have one person walk one side and the other person walk the other, running somewhat tandem up the street on both sides, keeping track of where each walker is at every opportunity by driving back and forth or parking at a street corner, watching and waiting on their calls to place signs in the yards they receive permission to do so. If one side is residential and the other side is commercial, or some of each, the driver will drop one walker off at the beginning of a residential block. They will then take the next walker to the beginning of the very next block and drop them off to begin canvassing as well, in a slingshot fashion. If you have 3 walkers, a similar idea is efficient. When the first walker reaches the end of the block they were originally dropped off, then pick them up, offer them water and rest, then drop them off at the beginning of the next uncanvassed block. Walkers and drivers will be in constant communication via cell phone, which is why it's extremely important for the driver to keep their phone lines clear for the walkers at all times. You'll soon see the best way that one driver can accommodate 2 or 3 walkers and working 2 or 3 blocks simultaneously. This leads to a lot of activity and a lot of success quickly. Soon, the driver's phone will be ringing regularly with calls from the walkers giving them addresses that need signs. Then, the driver plants the sign while taking note of the whereabouts of their walkers as they drive up and down the street. Although this is a fairly simple process, there are some laws we have to abide by and a few tips to make things a little easier. Firstly, make sure all walkers have No Tax for Tracks residential canvassing scripts. This script works great, and it's important not to stray from it. Take some time to do a bit of role-playing with a friend for some practice before you go out. Always keep in mind that we're looking for supporters or individuals who are uninformed or undecided, who can be easily recruited with some pertinent information. We're not trying to persuade someone to change their visible support for green light or get involved in the history of public transportation in the United States. Simply thank them and move on. Again, the main goal of this effort is to plant yard signs as quickly as possible, not argue or spend 10 minutes at the door. Never put anything in or on a mailbox. This includes mail slots too. It's against federal law to do so and is strictly enforced. If after knocking you've determined nobody is home, place the brochure in the crack of the door or any other practical place you can find, mailboxes excluded, where it will not be vulnerable to weather conditions such as rain, wind, etc. When you find someone who'd like a yard sign, call the driver and let them know what house number needs the sign, then continue on to the next home. Let's talk about what to do when you're actually at the resident's door. First thing, I recommend to ring the doorbell. Now make sure you listen and hear that you actually hear the doorbell ring. Many times the doorbells are disconnected. If that's the case, simply knock on the door. Step back, give the resident some room to breathe, and just stand there and keep a smile on your face. Be alert and attentive and ready to jump right into the script when they open the door. If they don't open the door, however, keep in mind, do not put anything in a mail slot or a mailbox. In this case, we would put the brochure right here in the crack of the door and move on to the next one. Hello, hi, my name's Devin Henderson, and we were in the area today just informing the residents of Pinellas that in November the county commission's trying to raise our sales tax rate to 8 cents. Were you aware of that?
No, not at all. What's that all about?
Okay, well this is a $100 million per year tax increase, and 90% of the money is for 24 miles of light rail between Clearwater and St. Pete. Okay, it doesn't go to Tampa or Orlando. There are 16 hubs on the tracks. It's 25 miles per hour is the train. It's going to take over an hour per one-way trip. We feel like they need to focus on the bus system and get that running right for those of us that need it before they try to spend billions of dollars in rail, giving us the highest sales tax rate in the state. Do you have any questions or concerns while I'm here?
Well, what do I need to do?
Well, basically you need to vote and spread the word. But more importantly, to help us spread the word, we have some yard signs that look just like my shirt. Would you mind if we put one up?
No, not at all. I don't want a higher sales tax.
Great. Well, we appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you for you doing what you're doing.
You're welcome. And there's a contact number on the back of the brochure. Feel free to give us a call.
I will.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now let's talk a bit about planting a yard sign. After you found a resident who agrees to have a yard sign planted, you're going to have to plant it. Always plant the sign in the resident's yard. Be sure you never plant the sign on the other side of the sidewalk near the road. This is government property and it will be taken down. Now when you plant the sign in the resident's yard, be sure you take a look around and make sure that there's no mailboxes, bushes, walls, etc. obstructing the view of the sign from the road. Remember, the main purpose is for people to see these signs. Take the sign, put it in the best location, give it a little tap down with your foot, make sure it's as straight as possible. I recommend you take a look at it from afar just to be sure you didn't miss anything, and you've now planted a yard sign. One final tip. Offering incentives works extremely well. If possible, try to come up with some kind of reward for the team member who gets the most yard signs planted. If you're having trouble in this area or any areas, please contact Betsy Burgess. As promised, you now know everything necessary to have a fun and successful day canvassing. Again, thank you for your commitment and effort. Don't forget to bring cell phones, plenty of water, and sunscreen. Have fun. Thank you.